close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Turns to sun rays, and on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. See the horizon, turn us to thousands, and we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands, and on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays, and on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays, and on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
Check. We good? Chat up, brothers. Here we go. I hope you guys are great. Good morning. Happy Saturday. All right, so lots to talk about. Let's just start with update on the test cycle. So I'm running 560 milligrams of testosterone a week. Decided to do that. I guess I didn't really talk about that on the last video, just to see, how much I could push in terms of total testosterone, considering getting back into cardio has really allowed me to tolerate a lot higher doses of testosterone, or a lot more testosterone at once. It's really interesting. I have a lot of theories on why that might be the case, but nonetheless, it's super fascinating, right? So, I've been running just about 300 milligrams or so of test prop, 270, between 240 and 280 actually is what I was running, and tolerated it really well. Prop is a different ester, and I tend to tolerate that better. But for a higher cycle, I was like, let me try some test NFA right in the middle. I don't really love cypionate. See how I tolerate that. So 560 milligrams a week, running 80 milligrams a day, injecting that daily, subcutaneously, usually in the quad. I guess if PIP becomes a little excessive, which it certainly hurts a little bit, nothing compared to prop, then maybe I'll switch injection sites. Don't really want to run intramuscular at this point. Anyway, first week and a half, really good, powerful erections. Libido was insane for about 2 days. So I filmed that last video, I think earlier this week, Monday, and then it launched Wednesday. I had test flu. Okay. Test flu. I wasn't sick. I'd been around no one that was sick. And, there's a couple different explanations for what test flu might be. One is allergy to the carrier oil, systemic inflammation via carrier oil. But I think the most logical explanation for test flu, which is just basically feel feverish and kind of run down, a little bit lethargic, is a testosterone metabolite called etiocalanolone. Right. And so etiocalanolone in TRT doses you certainly make to a degree, but it really doesn't mess with anything. But at large quantities, I mean, look, it's studied for immunostimulation, right? It's what the hell else that I was reading about it that's like makes it a pretty prime candidate here. You can induce a fever by taking it. So, I think this whole carrier oil thing, I mean, look, I've gotten flu-like symptoms from tests before at lower doses, just higher amounts at once with various carrier oils. So I'm not sure that I fully believe that one. I think it's likely the etiocalanolone. So I had to take the dose down to 420 a week just for a brief intermittent period. I want to push back up to 560. So, I bumped it down to 60 milligrams a day. That's where I'm at right now. And that went away instantly. Like the test flu symptoms went away. So that's been interesting. Erections still very fucking strong, definitely stronger than they are on TRT at any dose, which I find fascinating, but not surprising. Obviously a higher DHT load. Haven't needed to manage estrogen yet. I've gotten no estrogen-like symptoms, so that's pretty cool. I think that higher level of testosterone certainly seems to balance that out. Stronger every day in the gym. Pumps look fucking insane. Shoulders getting bigger. Chest getting bigger. Generally feeling fucking bigger in my clothes, so I'm excited about that. And that's all I really have to update. I just started this cycle. Largely besides having test flu for a couple days and having to dial the dose back a little bit to 60 a day, no major side effects, nothing happening, neurologically. Breathing is great. I'll be running crit sooner than later just to see where that goes, although I don't think it's going to go very high. What else? I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, I did a podcast yesterday with Mike from Balance My Hormones. So that's a channel out of the UK, which talks about TRT mainly. Pretty popular channel. I think they've got like 40 something thousand subs. And we had about an hour and some change conversation. Okay, you'll know Mike when you see him. He's a bald guy, has a beard, usually has Dr. T on, or Dr. George. You guys know him. He's got a funky accent. And they're fun to watch because they talk about all the topics that are relevant to us. Mike reached out to me for a podcast in the last 3 weeks or so. We finally got it dialed into yesterday, recorded it, and now they're editing it, and it'll be up in, I don't know, a few weeks to a month or something. So I guess we'll see about that, but it's actually really fucking awesome. We talked about prop, we talked about dopamine, we talked about dopamine agonists, we talked about sub-Q versus IM. So it'll be a pretty informative podcast for you TRT people launching, sometime soon. All right, let's get to questions. Best Bud is asking, have you done any research on marijuana and sleep? I've noticed it suppresses dreams. Yeah, the only way it would suppress dreams is if it's suppressing acetylcholine. That's likely what's happening there. Marijuana and acetylcholine has a weird relationship in that I think initially you release some more choline and then you probably deplete the active reserve. And then your brain has to project more acetylcholine to get back to normal. So that'd be the only explanation for that. Trying to think of what my dreams were like when I smoked pot. Yeah, on and off with my ex, I smoked pot. A little bit after the army, I smoked some pot. And then before the army, I certainly smoked a lot of pot. I don't know if it was much different. I don't really recall if I had dreams or didn't have dreams or if they were suppressed or whatever. But if that's happening, it's definitely inhibiting acetylcholine. Okay. Because if you were to take any cholinergic agent at the dose that was right for you, where you had enough brain acetylcholine, you would have vivid dreams and you could lucid dream, right? I mean, if you got to that point and the dose was right, it was enough for you to do lucid dreaming, you would have lucid dreams. I always have lucid dreams on cholinergics. Anything that will increase acetylcholine, probably the most effective for that would be huperzine A. Good morning, brother. Best Bud is on 300 milligrams a week of test. I'm going on vacation next week. Should I double my dose before I go? I'm scared to bring it on the airplane. As long as you're going to the States and you have a prescription for it, bring it. Bring it on the airplane. Bring it wherever you go. That is a prescription medicine. It's a medicine. So put it in your check bag. And, ship it on to Florida, wherever you're going, and then inject while you're there. Yeah. Have I been on a plane since being on TRT? Yeah, once. And I brought it, I put it in the check bag and the prescription, right? I mean, the vial, not the vial, but the box that the vial came in has my name on it. So nobody did anything. Otherwise, I understand what you mean, because I had to take a trip about a month ago and I injected 200 milligrams of Cypionate just because I didn't want to bring prop at the time and kind of deal with that every day. Was around people, and for a few of those days I was staying with somebody, an old friend, so I was like, whatever. But I would take your test. Yeah, I wouldn't double up. That's probably going to fuck your protocol up for a week and a half, maybe a little more. If you're particularly dialed in, I wouldn't do that at this time. And you might get side effects, again, me running 560 a test, I started getting test flu for a couple of days, had to dial it back from 80 milligrams a day to 60 milligrams a day. And that just instantly went away. So I'll try to work my way back up, but tests can do that. Be in shape. Ryan, acne is taking over my back and chest and starting the cream. Okay, interesting. Any thoughts? Imbalance. Yeah. This is the bottom line with acne is that like your test to DHT to estradiol ratio, when that gets out of whack, and that can get out of whack through various modalities of testosterone, and you may not be able to fix that unless you either lower the estrogen, raise the estrogen, lower the DHT, or raise the DHT. It's unclear in your particular situation what's happening. If you're rubbing cream on the testicles, you probably have high DHT, and that's antagonizing estradiol. So although people think estrogen is implicated in acne, it's really the imbalance of all these things that causes that to happen. Cream also peaks very quickly. It just shoots right up, right? So the fact that it's shooting up may contribute to more acne. I had less acne on cream, but I think that's because it balanced out the ratios pretty fine for me. My ratios were good. You might want to run labs and look at what doesn't make sense. If you've got sky high test and pretty high DHT, but your estrogen's kind of on the lower side, that's probably why you have acne in this situation. Yeah, and that's just probably what it is. I found imbalances to be much more the cause of acne. As an example, so like when I first started TRT, I was running 200 milligrams a week, and I was doing that every day, injection sub-Q. There for months, I had no acne, a little bit of pimple sprouting up here and there, but like nothing major. It was thereafter for the ensuing long time, I don't quite know how long, that I was running lower doses than 210, that acne became worse. So somehow at 200 a sip a week injected every day, I had a good balance of hormones in a way which made acne less troublesome or bothersome. Interestingly, now that I'm on low to mid-level cycle of testosterone, I'm not having acne sprout up. This stuff here is from injecting SIP a month ago, an entire milliliter at once. And these have just been stubborn, but my shoulders are clear of acne, and that's where you normally get them. I just do not have shoulder acne. In the middle of my back a little bit, sprouting up from this cycle, but generally, I don't know. I mean, I feel really good, and the sexual system's working good, which indicates a good balance. So again, you certainly want to look at labs and look at where the balance is on these hormones so that you can make adjustments if need be. When the hormone ratios get in a great balance, which usually you'll feel really good and the sexual system be working really fucking good, the acne tends to kind of go away or be a little less troublesome. When you're imbalanced completely, the acne comes more significantly. If you're not used to, a milliliter at once of a long ester, the peaks and troughs and that somewhat roller coaster, then yeah, you'll have acne more so than if you were injecting higher amounts of testosterone, like 350 or something, but injecting every day. Dixie is saying, would you say you aromatize more or less on prop versus NF8? Far less on prop, 100%. Is this one of the reasons you decided to run NF8 ED for the cycle? Yes, that is. So look, the bottom line is this. I can't prove this, but I mean, there's a lot of things that, bodybuilders and people that have been fucking with testosterone for years know. Kind of the bros know stuff that science will never catch up to or whatever. Some of these things science will never catch up to because they don't have an interest in studying it. And the bros have always said that prop aromatizes less. Dorian Yates notoriously like to use prop at certain times because of less aromatization. So prop will aromatize less. There's no question about that. Whether the changes in the blood or the changes at the tissues is unclear. It's unclear, but prop is much more forgiving on the whole estrogen dynamic than anything else. But I tried running prop at 560 milligrams a week. I felt pretty good. My erections were solid, but my libido had left my body for the most part. And that's because I couldn't aromatize enough, right? Estrogen in the context of very high test and DHT is necessary for libido, especially peaks of estrogen, followed by some, a mild trough. So I was kind of, a little bit asexual with rockin' boners on 560 a week of prop. So with NF8, again, I had to take the dose from 80 milligrams a day to 60 milligrams a day because of fucking test flu, which happens. I've never been on a cycle before, so I kind of expected that to fucking happen, and it certainly did. Likely via etiocalanolone and not via carrier oil allergies. Either way, though, on 420 a week versus 560 a week, my libido erections are really great. They're really fucking great. My libido is just good. It just stays kind of good for most protocols so long as my ratios are good, but the erections are insane. And if I wasn't aromatizing enough, I would have shitty erections. Yeah, that's for sure. On higher doses when I was running high dose prop, I actually tried fucking with an AI to an extent, and it basically just gave me mild ED for a brief period. So with higher test, I just need fucking higher estrogen, even for the sexual system, which goes completely counter to every piece of advice I've given regarding TRT. Because TRT doses are much different than cycle doses. Yeah. So I aromatize a lot less on prop for sure. TRT doses of prop are fine. They're very good. For all that, it just puts me in a nice ratio, but I go above probably 300. I don't know, as I went right from 280 to 560 on prop and shit went down the toilet. But above 300, I probably would have libido problems because I'm not aromatizing enough. And I would also feel a little subpar. That's the other thing I've noticed about being on higher levels of test is that if my estrogen isn't high enough, I don't feel good. I feel a little lethargic and I just feel kind of lackadaisical and not particularly happy or something, then, when the estradiol gets back up, I feel better. Blind Robert Evans, just curious, how did cabergoline make you feel, especially in terms of side effects? My doc said I might have a pituitary tumor and might have to take it. Well, you got to get that MRI, brother. That's the only way to tell. Cab works like the following. The first time you take it or the first couple times you take it, you'll probably feel intermittent bouts of tiredness. That's one thing that happened to me. Your blood pressure might drop marginally, but enough for you to notice it. You feel a little lightheaded, a little funky. You have to just sleep that out. A lot of people that with prolactinomas take cabergoline at night to avoid some of those side effects. They just sleep through it and wake up the next day and they're fine. And then still for 60 hours, it's sitting at the D2 receptor sites blocking prolactin secretion. So it's still effective in that regard. But yeah, the trend with cabergoline is side effects initially, and then you very quickly get used to that dose, and the side effects go away. That's the trend with cabergoline. Yeah, that's what happened to me. That's what happens to people. That's what happens to all the prolactinoma folks in the Reddit or prolactinoma subreddit. And so that's likely to happen. Other than that, yeah, I mean, I maybe had a little bit of impulsivity. That's happened to me on 9-MeBC as well. Anything dopaminergic makes you a little impulsive. For me, that really didn't translate to anything other than, increased desire for sex and pushing that as much as possible with, girls that I had previously dated that I probably have no business messing with. Other than that, yeah, I don't know, generally a little more happier about life kind of thing, because that's the dopaminergic input. Get an MRI, because that's the only way you're going to know if you have an adenoma or not. Yeah, I mean, I think we've talked about this before, and I think your levels aren't substantially high. Your prolactin levels aren't substantially high. I mean, if they're 40, 50 or something, you likely don't have an adenoma. You got to be pushing 100 plus. I think the clinical markers 200 nanograms per milliliter plus, and then you almost definitely have a prolactinoma. But get that MRI, man. And even if you do, listen, CAB is a very effective drug for reducing prolactin and involuting the cells that secrete prolactin, these lactotropes. That's what it does. It can cure prolactinomas. So So that's just something. Nosy Blacklight says, my dreams went away when I smoked all the time. So this is in the context of pot. Yeah, again, it might be inhibiting acetylcholine to some quantity where, look, acetylcholine is necessary for dreams. I had a vegetarian employee for my old iPhone and iPad repair company who I got him to eat salmon. I'm like, at least eat salmon, bro. He started having dreams again. Because of the choline in the fucking salmon. So choline is heavily influential on dreams. And yeah, marijuana is probably depleting acetylcholine to some level. That's one of the reasons I don't, there's many reasons I really don't mess with pot. But that's certainly one of them. Proviron God, I lowered my libido and got joint pain from even Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 25 milligrams Mysterolone. Felt great all of a sudden, then not good. Yeah, you dropped the estrogen too much. That's all. Mysterolone is strong enough. I respect it. Absolutely. That'll happen. Yeah, you would need higher levels of testosterone to deal with that so that you aromatized enough. The same thing happens to me. The same thing happened to me on between 240 and 280. I say that because I would switch it. I would change it to see was 240 better, was 280 better of prop per week. And Proviron 25 milligrams every day, and my libido started leaving my body. And I could see it happening. And I'm like, oh, that's got to be, I'm antagonizing estrogen. So I switched that to every third day or so of Proviron, and that fixed the issue. But that's it. You get out of your estrogen range, whether high or low, but especially low, libido goes away, your dick stops working and all that stuff. So yeah, Proviron's real powerful for that, brother. Real powerful. Jay Brody, is there any signs that I need to reduce the Arimidex dose? ED, lack of libido, lethargy, not strong in the gym anymore, you're losing your pumps, shit like that is a too low estrogen, whatever milieu compared to your testosterone milieu. That's what I would say about that for sure. Again, as I said, running cycle doses of low level cycle doses of testosterone, I can't fucking have estrogen low. I do not fucking feel good, man. So yeah, and I'm actually happy about it. I really don't want to be dosing Arimidex. I'll be dosing Primo if I get estrogen sides that are crazy and the bloods validate that. Darren Hawkins, what are the main reasons for suddenly being asexual and having muted orgasms? There are, I don't know, 10 that I can think of. Number one would be high prolactin will mute everything, your libido, especially your erections. Especially, there's a mechanism independent of testosterone or gonadotropin inhibition that prolactin executes in terms of reducing erectile quality. Who knows what it is, because the literature doesn't fucking know. Interestingly, I have theories on that. PRL receptors are everywhere, probably in penile tissue as well, so that could happen. I mean, prolactin is what happens after you climax that gives you ED for a temporary period, makes you not able to be hard or be interested in sex. That's where post-nut clarity really comes from, prolactin. Interestingly, which is a real fucking thing, by the way. Okay, so and then otherwise your testosterone could have dropped entirely too low, and thus your estradiol dropped too low. That's it. Test DHT or estrogen going too low. All that will cause this for sure. You know, the one thing I've learned about PFS, PSSD, and sexual dysfunction caused by drugs, pharmaceutical, neuromodulatory drugs, is that it's not different from sexual dysfunction caused by an endocrine problem, endocrine imbalance, endocrine hormone, sex hormone deficiencies. It is no different. These guys like to think that they're in some camp because it was induced by certain drugs, but the best way I've been able to solve it is to not think about it as if it's this obscure condition that no one knows how to fix, but rather from the perspective of an endocrine disorder that you've just got to straighten out with hormones. And so a guy with a endocrine disorder or sex hormone problem will have the same symptoms as a PSSD patient. Literally fucking symptom for symptom. General anesthesia, no morning wood, no nocturnal wood, no inability to get erections, even with porn, zero libido, inability to climax. And if you do, it's weak and you don't fucking feel it. All the same. So, you know, it's androgens and then estrogen dropping is what it is. Or it could be the inhibition of DHT, which would be terrible. Sam, what are your thoughts on topical dutasteride not going systemic because of its molecular weight? Any alternatives? You know, I don't know if it goes systemic or not. I think it does, though. I think it does. I mean, look, messing with GHKU copper, I had a loss of libido for a couple days, and I really couldn't attribute that to anything other than a reduction in DHT. Copper actually is a 5-AR inhibitor, and that was applied topically, intermittently with a derma roller to prevent hair loss and to grow some hair back. The derma roller is enough for me, honestly, because I've got good hair genes. I don't think it'll work for everybody. I'm now, my hair's like pretty thick. I've got some spots here that are less thick, and that again, happened running 560 a prop. That happened very quickly running prop. But anyway, I think it goes systemic. Yeah, that's what I think. I think I wouldn't fucking touch it with a 10-foot pole. I've just seen too many people come to me with horrid symptoms from 5-AR inhibitors. Yeah, and it's quite possible that copper in and of itself could cause somewhat similar side. Even though the documented mechanisms of copper-induced hair growth are different, it has nothing to do with DHT according to the scientific literature. Copper does still inhibit 5-AR. So there's that. So I think that topical dutasteride is probably going to be pretty effective at lowering DHT. I do think that. All right. Nosy Blacklight says 3 weeks on test C, 200 milligrams split up. So 100 and 100, Proviron daily. Cool. Libido still hasn't improved. Think about one bolus dose of test per week. If I were you, I'd remove the Proviron. Yeah, that's probably the issue there. Yeah, because you might be just taking the estrogen down too low. You'll need peaks of estradiol followed by balance and then troughs in order for libido to be in a great place. Because then by the time you hit your next injection, estrogen has come down a little bit. Then you get a higher androgen load, still lower estrogen, but the estrogen is kind of simultaneously peaking up. That's really where you're going to find libido. These guys that are at 1230 of estradiol, 1200 total tests and 30 of estradiol, and are complaining of sexual stuff, it is the estrogen being too low. It is. And I know that seems like I've changed my stance a little bit, and I guess I kind of have, having dosed higher levels of testosterone and recognizing how critical for libido, for mood, etc. estrogen is for me personally on very high doses of androgens. So, Proviron, you shouldn't underestimate the power of that compound. It is very powerful at modulating the aromatase enzyme so that it does its work less significantly, and then you ultimately aromatize less. The DHT part of it also blocks estrogen at the genetic expression level. So, you just remove the Proviron. This happened to me with Proviron and a test dose. So, I would either run it every 3 days or every 4th day, or maybe consider 12.5 a day, 12.5 every other day. That's your problem right there for sure. Yeah. I mean, a lot of guys running Proviron with their test are also running higher doses of testosterone, kind of at low level cycles like where I'm at, or they aromatize so much that they need the proviron in order to keep estrogen in check. So if your libido went down, it's estrogen. It's always estrogen. If the estrogen isn't high enough for that test milieu or for the androgen milieu, then libido is going to take a shit. Blind Robert Essence, awesome, good to know. Yes, get that MRI ordered. All of your questions regarding that will be answered, and you'll have peace of mind. Robert Washington, Ryan, have you ever taken telmisartan with test? Are there any supplements that are necessary with test cycles for health reasons? Okay, so let's talk about this. No, I've not taken telmisartan. I historically have never had blood pressure issues on TRT or before. I've always run low, and that's because I'm a runner. That's why. I took a 5-year break or so, but I've been a runner for 14 years of my adult life. This would be year 15. And so for sure, that has changed my cardiac function for sure, to the point where it works a lot more efficiently. And my blood pressure never goes above 120/80. It's usually 110/75, 115/75, 115/60. That's where it typically is. So no, I personally don't, but people that aren't, I think I'm probably the minority in that I can take above 400 milligrams of testosterone a week and not have blood pressure issues at all. Like during this cycle period, which is now about 3 weeks and some change, my blood pressure hasn't fucking moved, and I'm not taking anything, but I am running every day. I do eat well. I do eat a lot of salt still because I need it. I need it for running, because I'm burning a lot of salt while sweating. Supplements, otherwise, difficult to say, man. I think so. If you're one of those people that's hematocrit gets out of range and higher testosterone, then yeah, Naringin every day, 500 to 700 milligrams would be useful. If your blood pressure does go out of range and it kind of stays out of range, telmisartan for sure. I think it would behoove you to run, if you're not running telmisartan, 5 to 10 milligrams tadalafil a day for that blood pressure benefit. Other than that, if you're worried about calcification of arteries, if you're running, I think you'd have to be concerned about that if you're running a gram or more, then taking vitamin D with K2 specifically, reducing the calcification in arteries might be useful, so long as you don't get side effects, because K2 can cause all kinds of fucking side effects in people, not the least of which are GI problems, heart palpitations, kidney pain. I've seen with K2. That's why I'm not a huge fucking fan of it, but might be useful in this particular situation. Other than that, you want to eat protein, vegetables, tubers. You want to eat a very basic diet of good quality food. You don't want to be ordering cheesesteaks, to go and shit, or pizza significantly, maybe once every 2 weeks or so. You want to do cardio. That's the biggest contributor, especially relative to lipids, blood pressure, and hematocrit when you're on higher levels of test. Yeah, so there's many reasons for prolactin. This is in the context of prolactin kind of inching upwards. Again, if you're on any kind of antipsychotic, like a medication that blocks the dopamine D2 receptors, your prolactin will go up because it has no dopamine input at the receptor level, at the lactotrope D2 receptor level in the pituitary to stop prolactin from going up. So that's one thing. Kratom will do it. I don't know if you're ingesting kratom. Marijuana can do it. Alcohol can do it. High estrogen can do it. Very high estrogen can do it. So, those are all things that could be it. Thoughts on dihexa? I haven't dosed dihexa in quite a long time, so I'd really have to touch up on my notes. All I can say is that it made me feel smarter, somewhat like cerebrolysin when I dosed it. God, what was I running? Probably 20 milligrams a day. I forget. The last time I touched dihexa was probably about 2 years ago. So I'd have to brush up on my understanding of it. Bevney also says, suggestions for a friend has been anhedonic for many years and has severely downregulated dopamine. Finds no enjoyment in anything. What compound would give him a head start? I'd run a cycle of 9-MeBC to confirm whether or not it's dopamine. That will help. 40-50 milligrams a day for 40 to 50 days, 2-week break. Run that same cycle again. If he gets no alleviation, it's not dopamine. It's not dopamine. Despite the catch-all anhedonia is strictly dopamine, it's not exclusively dopamine that causes anhedonia. It could be a lack of sex hormones for sure. I mean, you take test and estrogen too low, you're going to have anhedonia. Guys that take Arimidex and the dose is way too high and they're trying to drop estrogen too low, they have anhedonia. So you might want to look into those things. I don't really have an opinion on sublingual DHEA or pregnenolone. Not sure if I'm sure they'll be marginally more effective than just oral administration. You might need lower doses of it. Jay Brody, is 9-MBC good for improving retention after studying? I think it is. I did have cognitive benefits in addition to motivation and dopamine benefits from running 9-MBC. You're upregulating some neurotrophic factors too, in addition to optimizing dopamine when you take 9-MBC. So yeah, I would say that that's probably why it's helpful. I don't know that the effects from any like neurogenesis inducing nootropic are permanent. It's a really hard one. What I can say is that using nootropics for years, I feel like my brain works better, but that's like 15, 16 years, just a long time, almost 2 decades. So that's really what you'd be looking at in order to optimize things in a semi-permanent way. Best Bud, what's the highest estrogen levels you've seen? Does aromatization have a limit? The second question, yes, the aromatase enzymes get saturated and they cannot aromatize anymore because they're currently aromatizing or in action. And I think there's a potential for them to become deactivated to an extent when there's just too much androgen in the picture. They can't just, you can't just continually aromatize. You have a cap on that. Highest levels of estrogen I've personally seen in client work. I mean, a guy came to me on TRT somewhere around 100 with just 250 milligrams a week of SIP, but this guy had a lot of work to do to get that aromatization level down. But look, I mean, there are people running grams of testosterone that are much higher than that, 150, 200 picograms per milliliter of estrogen. But that works for them if, they're fucking ultra super physiologic, 5x the top of the reference range of testosterone. That works for them. Good question. What would make a person more impulsive, CAB or 9-MeBC? Personally, 9-MeBC makes me more impulsive than cabergoline. Yeah, that's just fucking powerful on the dopamine front. CAB is, it's very selective about being a D2 receptor. I think it might agonize D4 as well, but that's it. It's just pretty selective. Whereas 9-MeBC, you've got dopamine projection and therefore dopamine receptor activation everywhere. So a little different. Nosy Blacklight, do you still take Torque or Cortex almost every day? Every other day, there's something in the regimen, nootropic wise. It's largely Torque because it's just so easy and awesome. By the way, this stuff is buy one, get one free right now, guys. If you want a nootropic stack that is epic that I built, I mean, this ships to 40 something countries. It's one of the most popular stacks in the world right now. Certainly on the web. The code for that, buy one, get one free, is in the description of the video. But yes, I still take them pretty consistently. Yeah, modafinil once, twice a month. Bromantane, 9-MeBC when I run cycles. Obviously, I like taking cerebrolysin. I haven't taken Noopept in a while. I'm kind of just over cholinergics for the moment. I really don't care. I don't have the necessity to want to think like that. How cholinergics make you think, which is like you take a good cholinergic and you turn into a math nerd, even if you're not a math nerd. It's really weird, but it's kind of cool. Yeah, definitely replace the morning coffee or synergize very well with the morning coffee. That's what I would say. Robert saw the video on cardio and higher tests and ran 2 miles yesterday. Going to keep the cardio. Beautiful, brother. Do it. I'm telling you, that made the biggest difference in my ability to tolerate high levels of testosterone. Definitely. Yeah, I mean, when I had maybe a month and a half of running under my belt and then started to inch upward in doses of test prop, and I'm like, dude, I can fucking tolerate it. Here I am again. I ran 560 for 3 weeks, 560 of anything for a week and a half. Got test flu for a couple of days, so I just had to bump the daily dose down to 60 milligrams instead of 80. But otherwise, like the stuff that would make me not tolerate testosterone has not happened, and I know those symptoms. I get fucking amped out of my mind. Like I used to try to run. If I would try to run 250 a sip in infrequent injections, I'd be stimmed out of my fucking mind. And I feel my just nervous system would be cranked like the movie Crank with Jason Statham. But now that I'm running, I'm running a mid-level cycle, low-level cycle here, and I feel great. All right, Ramiel, hey, it's Ryan. Thank you, though. Brian. I saw a video by Dr. Abs, which claims testosterone applied directly to the face can remove wrinkles. Look, I don't discount stuff like that. I think it's quite possible. Yeah. I mean, test is very fucking powerful stuff. It's just, it's the male hormone. I don't know. Yeah. Guess at the collagen level, dude, at the subdermal level, like what the fuck it's doing. I've never really studied wrinkle physiology. What are the dynamics of wrinkles? I'm sure there's an explanation out there for what wrinkles really are at a more molecular level or a finer tooth level. And yeah, maybe testosterone is somehow modulating that. I don't think that it's completely out of the question. Cardio suggestions when your knee hurts. That's a hard one. You might have to inject some BPC 157 so that your knee can recover, the injury on your knee can recover. That's what I would suggest. Yeah, I have a girl at the gym who's had a nagging elbow pain. It's like tendon pain right down here, right here. And I got her injecting BPC 157 and she's back to normal. So that's what I would suggest. If I have a little bit of knee pain in my left knee. I haven't needed to inject any BPC 157 yet. It happened because I was trying to avoid this group of people on the sidewalk in the city in Pittsburgh who were just completely unaware, probably because they were drunk and there was a Pirates game, who didn't see me. I had to jump around them while running and land on the curb all fucked up on my left leg. So my knee hurts a little bit. I've just got a brace on it and like a little support slip-on brace, and that's basically fine. But if it gets past that point, I'll be running BPC 157. Robert Washington, what is a good nootropic stack for stressful recruiting job when you don't want to take caffeine? I'd stick with methylxanthines and like low dose cholinergic. So teacrine and aniracetam and maybe a little bit of choline. Yeah, good ratio there would be 150 to 200 of teacrine, 700 aniracetam, and like 50 of CDP choline. That's what I would do. Samuel, will you ever make a PSST cure video? It seems like a trendy topic. No. Because there is no one cure for PSST. That's what people need to understand about. That's why this is why people are still have PSST, because they think like, so citalopram caused it, so there must be an antidote. There's no antidote. An antidote implies that there's a singular chemical that will resolve the problem. I've never seen that to be true. I've just never seen it. Because you couldn't even take, like in these cases, like dihydroboldenone, which is pretty useful and PFS specifically, and get resolution, because it's going to crush your estrogen. You're going to need test base and some estrogen as well, and you're likely going to need to keep the gonads functional with HCG, maybe HCG plus HMG or HCG plus recombinant FSH. So there is no singular cure, and that's what keeps people in this never-ending cycle of being sick, because they think there's a cure. It's not. This is an endocrine system that you've got to get to the bottom of by finding your ratios of sex hormones. And that might need to, you might need to go ultra super physiologic. The one thing that I have seen to be true in these cases is if people aren't responding to regular TRT doses of testosterone, they're going to need to go to 400 or 500 milligrams a week, maybe 350, a lot of HCG in order to get sexual symptom resolution. So that's that. I think we've run out of questions. If you guys got questions, post them. Otherwise, I'll just turn on some waiting music. Do 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 do. Okay, how the fuck are you guys? Hope you're great. Hope you're having a happy Saturday. So far, I feel pretty awesome on the test cycle. Again, I started getting test flu earlier this week, which I can really only attribute to etiocalanolone, which is a metabolite of testosterone that you only really get in high doses if you're running high doses of test. I felt feverish. I felt lethargy. I felt sick. I felt like I was fucking sick. But my nose wasn't running. I didn't have characteristic, hallmark traits of a virus. So it was likely test flu. So I had to take the 80 milligram a day dose down to 60 milligrams a day. Still growing. I'm still strong as fuck in the gym. So that's 420 a week. I will move back up to 560, but I'm going to have to do it slow. I think I did it too quickly. So that's what's happening with me. And erections are godlike. Libido is great. It's always pretty good. As long as I don't crash estrogen, libido is really pretty good. Otherwise, again, like today I did incline press, right? I'm in between sets. I mean, I'm taking a minute less in between sets. It's really phenomenal. It's crazy how much strength you have and how much further you can push at the gym when you just have higher levels of test. It's really fucking awesome. This is why I think people that have been messing with anabolics for a while just say they mess with everything else and then they just go back and go, test is best. Just run testing. And I'm very, very fucking strong right now at the gym. I feel very fucking good. I know, again, if you watch the video on the cycle breakdown, you can see a little bit of a difference in my physique. It's very early, so I don't have a whole lot to show you guys. I mean, I'm certainly bigger. My shoulders are fucking capping the fuck out. So that's been interesting. But in time, I think I'm going to be a monster. In time. All right. Do you know if supplemental vitamin K would contribute to anxiety? Yeah, I know that K2 can cause all manner of symptoms, including anxiety, including heart palps, including kidney pain. Nosy Blacklight, how much do you think you spend on blood work? Seems like you're really good about monitoring. Yep, which I have to be. Consistent testing, just super expensive over time. I use discounted labs, which gets you labs a little cheaper. Yeah, gets you labs a lot cheaper, actually, than your doc writing you the, what the fuck's it called? Whatever the form is, and then going to Quest or wherever and getting your labs. So it's cheaper, but yeah, I mean, especially on this test cycle, like I'll have to run the whole gamut, CBC, CMP, obviously tests, free tests, estradiol. I'll be interested to run DHT just for the hell of it to see where that goes. Probably prolactin to see if that goes up. And some other markers, and that'll cost more. But I mean, generally just running TRT, I'll run total test, sometimes free test, but not usually an estradiol. When something goes wrong, if I lose libido or if erections get a little lackluster, then I'll want to take a snapshot of where that is so that I can try to hypothesize about what the fuck happened in that situation. But other than that, I'm not running it as frequently as you may think. Once a month, I'm running something. So on a month-to-month basis, I pretty much know where the important things are. Now running above 400 milligrams of test, well, above a TRT dose of test, I'm going to be running more labs. So it will cost more. I don't know how much I spend a year. I don't know, man. Fuck. At least a few $1,000s, I would say. Yeah. Blind Robert Evans says I have a rhythm. Yes, I am a drummer. Since I was 5 years old, I've been drumming. I have a kit at my uncle. Oh, where the fuck is my kit? I've got a Tama Swing Star at my brother's house. Yeah. But I don't have my kit here. I just haven't had a drum set at my house for a while. I should. I love fucking playing. But yeah, I've played for 35 years. I've played drums. Oh yeah. Do I still take HCG with test? Yes, more so. This is the other thing I found on being on higher levels of test is that I need more HCG to have genital sensation and to protect against testicular atrophy. Yeah. I mean, with higher doses of a long ester, you're going to notice testicles shrinking faster. That just happens. They sit higher, they get smaller, load size is smaller. So I've had to bump the HCG up to 250 IU every day. So that's 1,800 a week, 1,750 a week. So just need it with higher doses of test. Okay, Nosy Blacklight, have you read Focus on Pelvic Floor? Thinking about, listen, you're going to see anecdotals of people doing pelvic floor muscle exercises, Kegels, etc., reverse Kegels, and claim to have better erections. I have fussed with it. It's not really done anything for me, but then again, I've never had a significant issue. I mean, in my early 30s I did, but I just supplementally and otherwise got my testosterone up, and that fixed that problem. But I don't know. I mean, for people that somehow maybe have pelvic floor disorders, that could help. Yeah, I mean, Kegels, you're sort of flexing the muscle of the penis to an extent. Like when you're shaking out piss, you know, you those last couple squirts, that's somewhat of a muscle that you're activating. And so I see how it could be effective. It's just, I've never seen it in real life. I see a lot of people talking about it, but. All right, Peter Wrangler, is it true that cabergoline can permanently lower prolactin even when off of it? I don't know that that's true. No, I mean, the mechanism, because all the people that have prolactinomas, as an example, if they don't get cured from CAB, which some of them don't, CAB can cure it, but some of them don't, you'll often find, at least until the cells that produce prolactin involute and effectively die off and aren't functional anymore secreting prolactin, until that point, people will try to lower the dose of CAB or go off of it. And then within a month or two or sooner, the prolactin goes back up. So you'd have to be, my sense on this is that you'd have to be, I mean, on between 0.5, 0.75 and 1 milligram a week for 2+ years, to the point where you could probably stop taking it. Your tumor would shrink completely, and you'd probably be fine thereafter for those that it will cure it. And then thereafter, I don't think it would be permanently lower. It just would be normal. Ramiel, where do I get my testosterone? From Defy Medical. And it gets produced or made in Empower Pharmacy in Texas. Yeah. But that's just the test. The HCG comes from UGL, but a pharmaceutical source. The Primo I have, which I haven't needed to run yet or really wanted to run yet, comes from overseas source, UGL, basically, but good quality UGL. Proviron has come from pharmaceutical grade Proviron, from, you know, kind of a UGL source, but pharmaceutical grade stuff, you know, and etc. Okay, Trey, can taking too much vitamin D cause anxiety, depression? Potentially. I think you'd have to be pushing 10 KIU a day in order for that to happen. Yeah, but I look, I guess I have to admit that people are different, and so maybe 5 KIU a day would do it to you. It's possible. Mechanism by which that can happen, I can't find one. Doesn't mean there isn't. So if you have that, I don't think vitamin D is the cause, though. All right, what do you think about semaglutide GLP-1 agonists reducing impulsiveness? Are they? Interesting. Why would that be happening? No idea, bro. I don't know. I mean, the only thing that I can think of that it's doing is it's messing with dopamine. POIS, don't know what that is. Please explain what that is. But if it's a medical condition, I'm not going to be able to give you answers on how to treat it. I can give you pointers if it's something up my alley. All right, here's a question. This is all experimental, right? There's no long-term testosterone use studies which I can find. I'm on the first year, apart from some acne, which has gone, I feel great, but still skeptical. On high-dose test, yeah, I mean, there's a 600 milligram a week study. Was it 6 to 8 weeks? 6 to 8 weeks, no significant adverse effects. There were changes in HDL, LDL to an extent. Those could be modified via supplementation, cardio, etc. Maybe even a statin if you really need to go that far, if you've got bad cardiac genes or cholesterol genes. Think about that. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, there are a few. That's essentially it. There are just a few. But what we do have is we have people who have run a lot of testosterone for a while. Yeah, for a while. I know a guy. Okay, let's just call it this. So 2 examples. I know a guy that's been running anywhere from 350 to a gram for 35 years. He's 65, strong as a fucking ox, healthier than everyone his age around him. So there's that. What's up with that guy? You know, again, 350 milligrams to a gram a test. He's a power lifter for 30 fucking years, 35 years. He's 60 something, stronger than everybody his age. All people his age at 65 are frail and weak. He's strong and healthy and looks fucking young. Don't know what to tell you. I mean, you know, he should have been dead by now if all the fear mongering was true. He's very much not dead. He's very much healthy. So there's that. Secondly, one of my doctors, okay, so I keep, at this point, 2 MDs. One's an endocrinologist, one's just an MD, a family physician on board for certain things. one of my MDs, the MD, not the endocrinologist, is on pellets. He's 60 something years old and his testosterone levels are 2,500 on pellets. Guy's fine. Guy's great. Yeah, again, more energy than other 60-year-olds his fucking age. So we don't have studies, but we do have people that have been running, again, not ultra cycle levels of testosterone, 2,000 to 3,000, 2,000 to 3,000. And they're great. Now, the guy that I know who's running, 350 to a gram and has been for years, 3 decades, I don't know where his testosterone levels go, but on the high levels, they're obviously pushing 5,000 plus. Guy's healthier than anyone his fucking age. So I don't know what to say about that. Yeah. Okay. Okay. You need to book a consult with me. You can't flood the comments with this, man. Like, what caused it? What drug were you on? I've done a lot of content on sexual dysfunction induced by SSRIs and finasteride. I can't answer how to fix it in a a thing here. You could do a super chat and we could maybe get to the bottom of it, but you would need to super chat like $50 or something to put enough text in there for me to understand the context of your situation. DL Indo, have you ever tried any the test blends? Yeah, I have. Sip prop blend I've tried. So it's a 160-40 sip and prop. I liked it. I injected, what was I running that protocol at a time? 60 milligrams every other day of that. It was good. It was good. That was one protocol that worked. Yeah, people are thinking that I haven't found the protocol, like that's why I'm experimenting. I have fucking 7 protocols that work, including the sip prop blend. I just get bored with homeostasis and I want to try things. I want to see how much muscle I can put on with a test cycle. I think people are getting confused. There was a couple people like, you said that they think that everything I'm saying is a blanket statement to everybody, or that it's like relevant to my experimentation. No, it's relevant to clients most of the time, But yeah, I had a sip prop protocol of 60 milligrams every other day, injected intramuscularly. That worked fine. It was like good. Yeah. I just got bored of it, I guess, and wanted to kind of move on. Robert Washington. Hey, Ryan, do androgen receptors downregulate? Is there a way to upregulate? Yes, they do. I mean, again, like people with androgen receptor desensitization issues, their whole lives, it usually starts very young or they're born that way. It's the CAG repeats on the androgen receptor. What is it? The longer they are, the less sensitive you are to androgens. It's either the longer or the shorter. But that's possible to happen, but that's more of a thing that people are born with and have to deal with their whole lives. The troublesome thing about this is that ARs, like desensitization of ARs over the course of a short period induced by a drug, there's no proof that happens, although it's very possible. What we do know is that a lack of exposure to androgens, so starving your body of androgens, will probably downregulate androgen receptors, because the opposite happens when you have a lot of androgens, and that you upregulate them and you make more of them. You make more of them, called upregulation. So, and you probably increase the density of your current androgen receptors via androgen, specifically testosterone. So, is there a way to upregulate them? Yes, high levels of androgens. Look, I have a couple clients that need cycle level doses of testosterone to get libido and sexual function. They just don't respond to TRT doses for sexual function. So they've got to take 400, 500, 350. Those are the doses that those people have to take, and they're better injecting less frequently, and then they have libido and erections back, where they fucked around for years at 120, of tests and were castrated. So that's a thing too. How can I explain that? Yeah, potential androgen receptor insensitivity. And, when they get higher dose testosterone in the blood, there's enough binding to the ARs to cause the, protein expression of testosterone, of AR gene expression. Okay. Is there a way to upregulate it for better test absorption? Yeah. Higher doses. All right. Leo spoke about a treatment for PSSD, which was valproate and DHB. What's wrong with indicating a treatment? I'm not asking for medical advice because your situation because your situation is completely different than other people's situation that has PSSD. That's why you guys want to stay stuck on there's a cure, there's an etiology behind this. There isn't. It's a fucking endocrine disorder. That's why. And even if it's you need higher tests, you need functional testicles, and you need a reasonable estradiol milieu with high DHT, the markers for you are going to be fucking different than the markers for another guy. That's it, So like that's the reason, you know what I mean? And valproate and DHP are not the solution to any of these problems. Don't be antagonistic or I'm going to fucking ban you. All right. Can't say your name. Hello, I am on 250 milligrams of test a week. 2 twice a week injections, and I'm a low aromatizer. Is this protocol long-term sustainable for libido and growth? Well, for growth, yes, probably. If you're a low aromatizer, where are you now? Is your libido good now? Then I think you're fine regarding aromatization. Yeah, I think if the libido is good now. If it isn't though, then you probably aromatize less. Yeah, than people than most people. I aromatize less than I think most people for sure. So I've got to push estrogen higher, especially with higher tests. I definitely got to do that. But I don't know where your libido is, bro. If your libido's in a good place, then I wouldn't touch it. I think I just lost where the fuck I was here. Okay. All right. Hey, Judge, you need to relax, brother. You gotta chill, dude. No man operates this way. I understand you're in a fucked up place, but you can't be coming on the chat, typing all caps and saying this kind of shit. You're a man, right? You need to hire a professional, make money to hire a professional. If I was ever in a situation like yours, I'd be doing my fucking damnedest to get to the bottom of it. And if I needed to hire a professional, I would live my life to be able to do that. As much as I'd love to help you, Cortex Labs is not a charity. We answer questions for free for hours upon hours on live streams. But you're asking a very complex question, giving me no fucking context. Can't help you, dude. No context whatsoever. Okay, Nosy Blacklight. Aside from whether or not your body tolerates the oil subcutaneously, how do you decide whether or not want to go sub-Q versus IM? For me personally, like again, on a test cycle, I chose sub-Q because I want an even distribution of tests and I don't want massive peaks because then I'm just going to have side effects probably. I even had side effects on 560 and I had to take it down to 420 for a couple of days and probably have to go back up. Test flu specifically, no other side effects. But yeah, here's the bottom line. On TRT doses, people are just going to find that going intramuscular, you get a higher peak at a time of everything, and that's better for libido. That's just better for libido, right? The only way you could reach that in a lot of these cases with sub-Q dosing is to dose more sub-Q, Like people having a sexual difficulty on sub-Q injections, but they're injecting like 20 milligrams a day. You probably need to inject 50 a day. Then you're at 350 a week. So do you really want to do that? That's an individual choice. It might be useful. If you can't tolerate side effects from, bolus injections at once, and you need to inject sub-Q daily, but you're getting no sexual function on the lower doses, you'll have to raise your dose. Some people use better libido and better erections as a reason to go intramuscular via faster peaks, just more blood flow in the blood in the muscles. The blood vessels will take up that testosterone, metabolize it quicker. You get more boluses released from the depot at once, which trigger a different action than slower. So yeah, it just depends. As far as tolerating oil subcutaneously, look, I mean, for a week and a half, a week and 7 days, I was running 80 milligrams a day of enanthate, and it would pool up in the injection depot. I heated the vial up, which helped, but then I would have to massage the area to get that to disperse, and then it worked. Then it was fine. Yeah. So, I mean, now running slightly less, 20 milligrams a day less at 60 milligrams a day, it's still the same. I've got to massage the area. I do injections, but you know, it then will disperse. Some people don't tolerate subcutaneous injections because it won't disperse. And I think it's less capillaries and lymphatic fluid in the area able to transport that, to metabolize that testosterone. That's kind of what I think. Vigor Steve is saying a mil is okay for sub Q. Others say 0.3. It's going to depend on, again, how you metabolize it. I could probably run a mil, considering, you know, I ran, you know, 0.4 and was fine with that. I just had to, again, massage the area to get that oil to disperse. But I think a mil would be tops. Yeah, I think a mil is certainly doable. Steve has probably injected a mil, right? So, you know, and maybe over time of using androgens, your body gets a little more used to, I think your body adapts to all kinds of shit in a positive way. So it probably gets more used to being able to distribute that testosterone or metabolize it. So that's kind of what I think might be happening. Yeah, if you want to change. But if you're good where you are, stay there. Walter, in my late 50s, blood work shows my testosterone levels are fine. However, I have tons of low T symptoms. Yeah, classic situation. Doctor is okay with prescribing Viagra, but no T. His numbers show fine. Listen, what they don't know, what only guys like me know, and only guys that have been messing with androgens know, is that you could be at 500-600, but you might need to be at 1200. Yep. Yeah, because androgens act as therapy. Okay. If your levels are 450, oh, you're in range. Okay. But if you need more AR receptor binding in your dick tissues, penile tissues have androgen receptors. If you need elevated levels of estradiol, which optimize blood vessel function in the penis, if you need elevated levels of dihydrotestosterone, which optimize endothelial function, then for your 450 nanograms per deciliter or 600 isn't going to do it. It's never going to ever do it. For 40 more years, you'll have dick problems, right? So they have to be conservative, I guess, out of safety, but they also, you know, they have no interest in learning more and helping you. Okay, we'll give you Cialis or fucking sildenafil. You know, it doesn't fix your problem. You've got a blood flow problem, which is likely hormonal. If I were you, I'd go to a clinic. You're in your 50s, go to a clinic, go to a TRT clinic. Defy Medical, Merrick Health, TRT Nation. Those are 3 options. And communicate with them about your symptoms, and they will probably put you on testosterone. And then your life will change. You get yourself up to 1,000, maybe 1,500 at peak. Everything's going to be different, you know, and you'll likely not have to use those things, or they'll be complementary. 5 milligrams tadalafil or 20 to 30 milligrams of Viagra per sex session will just be complementary, but you don't need it, you know? Like, that's where I am. I run 5 a day at tadalafil, don't need it for sex, but it's complementary. It's complementary. If I run an extra 5 before sex, even more complementary. But the protocols and all the androgens, right, have, you know, dramatically helped my erection quality over the years, for sure. All right, Ryan Parsons is saying, I think Vigor Steve talked about CAG repeats in the regards to efficacy of tests and even Huntington's disease, if I remember. Yeah, he did. Yep, that's really I think that's really the thing. I think that's really it seems like one of the only obvious underlying mechanisms behind androgen receptor insensitivity, you know, that other than binding domain mutations, which is probably a lot more rare than CAG repeat problems. All right, post-finasteride syndrome, Norge. Love your name, bro. The whole DHP plus valproate is a valid treatment for PFS. Ryan Russo and one other guy seemed like it worked for them. Alex Kickle also recommends valproate for some people. Yeah, I know Alex personally. Thoughts? It's not going to work for everyone. Yeah, I've had guys run that protocol. I don't say these things because I'm just guessing. It didn't work for them. Didn't work. But you know what did work is high levels of tests, high levels of DHT, adequate levels of estradiol, adequate levels of testicular function worked for them. But DHB and valproate didn't. Thank you, Ryan. Test flu. All right, so sub-Q in the belly, ab or shallow in the quads. For what are we talking about here? I'm running the test cycle sub-Q in the quads. That's just easy for sub-Q. That's very easy for sub-Q. And the PIP is tolerable. It's nothing like prop. Prop PIP is fucking terrible. Am I concerned with scar tissue with intramuscular? Yes, but I haven't really seen it or had to worry about it. You know, then again, I haven't been injecting for 10 years like some people have that are worried about it. Like Steve will tell you that, you know, sub-Q is better for him because of all the scar tissue, among other reasons. And, you know, he's right because he's been injecting for longer than any of us have been talking about this. So that makes sense. Yeah, look, brother, I can't help you, man. I can't help you. Get your shit together. Good luck. Okay, Ryan Parsons. This is some inter-chat communication. Definitely running HCG. Yeah, 250 IU every day. I had to bump it up from 250 IU every other day to 250 every day, Lewis, because testicles were atrophying quickly and sensation was kind of taking a little of a hit. This is TMI, but like, look, listen, if the shutdown's so significant, you're going to have less lubrication of the male organ. I started noticing that happening. It was a little dry. Like, okay, time to up the HCG. So that resolved with about 2 days of 250 IU every day. So I now have to run 1750 of HCG instead of whatever I was running 1100 or something. I don't know that there's a way to fix bad eyesight after hard drug use. Probably want to look at some neurotrophic factor upregulating stuff, possibly cerebral lysin. I know there are some compounds for that. I just don't know what they are. There's gotta be compounds for that. All right. I'm trying to figure out what I should, what's an actual question here. All right, Robert Washington, I was taking test E and things were fine. I switched to Sustanon and my mood hasn't been the best. Is there an injection frequency that is better for Sustanon due to the esters? Your mood isn't good on Sustanon? I would, interesting. I mean, I would think it might be because you're getting a little prop there. What is your frequency now? Is it like infrequent? That might be the issue, and you might need to bump the total dose up and then dose more frequently, and that might solve your problem. If you can't figure it out, go back to test E. Back to test E, brother. I'm really liking testosterone enanthate. You know, I'd ran it at 112 a week a while back, very low dose. It was fine. My ratios were good in that area, so I had sexual function, but I was not anabolic. And but I haven't really run enanthate a whole lot. In addition to that, I like how I feel on it. I also am fucking running low-level cycle doses of test, so that's probably why I feel good. But I feel better than why, you know, if I was running Cypionate. I just don't like Cypionate, man. I can make it work, but I don't feel as good. I feel now at 60 milligrams a day of test E, feel great. Yeah, I had to take my cycle dose down to 420 from 560. I had test flu for a couple days. I'll work my way back up. I don't know if ejaculation leads to pimples, man. Does it? Samuel Turner, how important is trough test levels for ED? For everyday injections or for erectile dysfunction? I don't know. I don't know that it's relevant. Yeah, it depends on your TRT dose. If the dose is too low, you'll need to trough because estrogen's probably fucking with you because your dose of T is too low and the estrogen is too high. It's just a matter of a skewed ratio. If you're on a higher dose of testosterone, it might be better that you don't trough and you keep everything pretty level, but you have high levels of everything, you know, and then I think you're going to get alleviation from your problems. DST bro says, I was on 200 milligrams test sip a week, taking in 2 jabs for 11 months. Hematocrit and red blood cell count slightly elevated, still in range. If continued usage, will hematocrit keep rising? Likely, brother. Almost definitely. You're fucked. You're fucked and you can't use androgens. Nah, just start cardio, doing cardio. You know, treadmill at the gym. Go run 2 miles a day, work your way up to a couple miles a day. That's all you need. That's all you need. Literally, I went from 48 point something, 48.7 to 42. Now clocking in at 43.3. The only change, a little bit in Erections, first 3 weeks, 700 milligrams a day. But the only other change was running. I brought it down dramatically. When I ran back in the day, because I had been running for years, my hematocrit was always 41. I wasn't on androgens back then, but still that's low hematocrit for a person. So you start doing cardio, your hematocrit's going to go down. Almost definitely. Your cycle. Oh, that must have been relevant to a different question. SNC, I don't think I saw your super chats. Oh, thank you, Ryan. Appreciate that. Okay, here we go. Tips to increase HDL and tips on lowering high hematocrit, increasing HDL. You might want to look at getting on a statin in that case. Cardio will do it as well. There's a compound that is pretty underrated that no one ever talks about called D-limonene. It's the extract of orange peels in a liquid gel tab form. So that's been shown to have a very positive effect on lipids. So you might want to look into taking that. 75 milligrams on Monday and again on Thursday, shallow intramuscular. Oh, 75. It's the Anavar that's doing it for sure. Yeah, definitely the Anavar, my brother. I mean, raise your testos, get the VAR out. I bet that'll clear up. Start doing cardio if you're not doing it. Actual running. The Stairmaster and the elliptical is not the kind of cardio. It will help, but running is a completely different game changer. You pump blood at a different level. That's really where the benefit is. And you fucking, you prevent yourself from storing and LDL and a bunch of other positive things. So that VAR is probably causing your issue here. I mean, yeah, Anavar is not great on lipids. That's one of the reasons I haven't taken the Anavar I have. My LD or my HDL is at 46. It's kind of on the low end. LDL is fine at 104, at least last check. But yeah, I'm not taking my Anavar in that context. So yeah, start running. Maybe look into D-limonene. That'll probably help you. Otherwise, I think Vigor Steve did a fucking breakdown on this specific topic. If not, he's done many breakdowns over various different videos, so you have to hunt for that. But because Vigor Steve runs steroid cycles and has been for a long time, he's got a lot of solid information regarding this. Crit though will lower if you do cardio. Ryan, again, appreciate that super chat, bro. All right, SNC Nutrition. What is the feeling and difference from tyrosine versus Alcar? Tyrosine is an instant stim feeling. It's very stimmy. That could be good for you. It's good for me in the right dose. Too much and I'm anxious. Alcar is, it's like a half stim, but more, I think, clearer and better. And I'm a little happier. My mood's better. That's kind of it. Have good energy, but start to get fatigued around 2 p.m. I mean, that's not entirely uncommon. That's a normal thing for humans to get fatigued at 2 p.m. I'll tell you what, I'll get fatigued, tired, not fatigued, but like sleepy if I like lounge in bed doing work on my laptop at 2 p.m. But if I'm sitting up at a desk, I don't get tired. You know what I mean? Don't really have caffeine during the day, just in the morning. But yeah, I mean, for this problem, I'd run tyrosine instead of Alcar. As long as you respond well to it, you'll probably clear this afternoon fatigue problem up. Is test okay if I do 1 shot sub-Q a week? If you can tolerate it, yeah, sure. If the oil in the depot doesn't pool up, then I think that's fine. If it gets you the effects that you want, that's also a reason for it to be good. But you might not be able to tolerate it. It depends on whether or not it gives you libido and erections, and if at the injection site you can tolerate it, and whether or not you have neurological side effects. Welcome. I prefer anastrozole because it's easier and quicker to change, but exemestane is healthier, definitely. What is Cypionate's weakest point? Sticks around too long. That's the weakest point. Sticks around too fucking long, and therefore, in order to dial in, it takes you longer because you don't know where you are until week 4 of a change, because that it will change. You'll feel shitty or you'll feel something at week 2, but you'll feel different in week 4 on the same dose. That's the problem. So people that want to change things quickly, which I understand because I'm one of those people, have a hard time on Cypionate because you'll think you feel something at week 2 and you do, but that effect will change at week 4. Like I've run Cypionate protocols where libido erections were hit or miss in weeks 1 and 2, but then they came back full force in week 3, because it fucking takes that long. That's really the major problem. And if you need a trough, because some people on TRT doses, they need a trough. They need a trough of everything. They need a trough of test. They need a trough of estradiol, and then their SHBG goes up a little bit, which is good. And then they inject again and they feel really great. So I think those are really it. All right. Yeah, I got your super chats. Okay. Zoo, are there any other YouTubers who inspire you? Leo, for example, used to be highly regarded before he passed. Anyone you currently follow or recommend? Well, certainly Vigorous Steve. He inspires me because he made it to 100K subs through a grind over the years. Thankfully, really never got targeted by YouTube. That's why I don't have 100K, because I got targeted 5 times, banned 6 times. Had to fight for my channel back, so we got shit canned in the algorithm. But I think Vigorous Steve for sure. Out of the context of TRT and biohacking stuff, entrepreneurs, there's a bunch of entrepreneurs that I really like to watch. Grant Cardone is one of them. He's a real estate guy. Yeah, he's a little, I don't know, he's got a little bravado, but he's also a very smart fucking dude. So I like watching him. Who else? Tate Brothers. Love the fucking Tate Brothers. Love everything about the Tate Brothers. So like watching their content, especially around and really exclusively around the hustle, motivation, mindsets. You know? Like Andrew will say shit that no man fucking says. A lot, like some of the shit that he says about male productivity and the philosophy behind productivity. It's just very fucking awesome. So Tate Brothers, I used to watch a lot of Gary V, particularly, the mindset stuff. Because Gary V, though he talks about business and social media, a lot of Gary V's content is mindset. So liked Gary V, don't really watch him anymore because he kind of says the same stuff that I've heard him say. So I'm over that a little bit. And I think that's all I can really think of off the top of my head. That's inspirational. Yeah. I'm sure there's more and I'm missing people. Robert Washington, out of curiosity, have you ran anything else with Test? No. Mysterolone with Test. No, I've not run anything else with Test. I don't really plan to. NPP, no. I'm not interested in that. If anything, Primo, if I need estrogen control on this cycle. Asmar Doucette says running is more wear and tear on the body to cycle. Yeah, but it's also different in the cardiovascular arena. I feel better on running for sure, but it's not certain that it's less hammering on the body. You have to find he's probably right about that. It is worse on your body. He's right. Can't say that he's wrong. It's worse. Well, let me correct myself. It's much better for you in terms of cardiovascular health, but it's worse on your knees and shins, which means you have to get proper running shoes. You can get running shoes, Nike running shoes, but they'll be the wrong shoes for you. And you'll have calf pain or something, or shin splints. So you got to get proper running shoes, and you have to find your happy medium where you get enough of the cardiovascular benefits, the blood pressure lowering benefits, the hematocrit lowering benefits, the brain derived, the neurological benefits, the mood benefits, but that you don't hurt yourself. You're not having pain anywhere. I only run 2 to 3 miles a day. That's it. It's just like it's up the cultural district in on Penn Ave in Pittsburgh to the Strip District area, just the entrance to the Strip District, and then right down back to basically the center of the city. And that's it. 2 to 3 miles. That's all. So it doesn't have to be a lot. Of course. All right. When taking bromontane, did you get fatigued at all? No, I never got fatigued with that. It might be increasing serotonin synthesis at some level. That's probably what's happening there, but that's never happened to me. All right. Darren Hawkins, how long should someone run 8X before adjusting the dose? I think pretty immediately. Yeah, I mean, you should know pretty immediately what's happening. I mean, if you're not getting alleviation from sexual symptoms, if your estrogen's too high for your testosterone, then you should probably up the dose of it. I don't know. I have to look at your protocol and see what's happening, but pretty quickly. I mean, 48 hours, that estrogen's coming back up. Like on day 3, if you measure estradiol on day 1, where it's at its peak of reduction of estrogen, the Arimidex is at its peak of efficacy, and then you run estrogen again at day 3 after taking it, that estrogen is going to be coming back up. So you should know right away, a couple iterations and you'll know. Any issues running Adderall 5 milligrams 2 to 3 times a week for mundane work? Oh, regarding libido. I can tell you that I have a couple clients, and you'll find these anecdotals out there on the, where are you going to find these? Maybe the TRT subreddits, but Reddit in general, of Adderall causing libido and erection problems. I don't know why that is. It could be depletion of dopamine via keeping too much dopamine around in different areas. So you got projection of dopamine from the ventral tegmental area, and then you have Adderall keeping dopamine around in synaptic spaces, thereby telling the brain not to make more dopamine. This is what happens on reuptake inhibitors. So that could fuck with libido and erections. Also, though, maybe just via nervous system stimulation, it's just messing with libido. That's obviously not a scientific explanation, but that's possible. All right, SNC Nutrition. So if I switch from SIP to enanthate, can I keep my doses the same? I would, yeah. 75 of SIP Monday and Thursday. Yeah, keep them the same. Keep them the same. Keep them absolutely the same. Totally. You might end up feeling better. You might end up feeling better because you have a slightly higher peak and a slightly lower trough, and that just may do you well. Might do you well, right? Because maybe your perfect sweet spot is you need a little bit more of everything on the come up, and then you need to kind of trough a little bit, and then you're injecting twice a week, so that's 3.5 days. You probably stay pretty close to level with a little bit of a trough, but you'll get a good peak. Yeah, you're gonna get a good peak in that peak period with enanthate. It does peak higher and trough lower. It is not the same as testosterone cypionate. It's not. It behaves totally differently in my body than testosterone cypionate. Enanthate does. That's one of the reasons I really like it. It just behaves better. What compounds to get the Andrew Tate mindset? Yeah, nootropics and TRT, bro. Yeah, but also being a killer in life. One of the things, the reason I think what the Tate brothers say, like, resonates with me is because I've been hustling for 20 years. I joined the army at 19, went to Iraq, came back, started companies, failed for a while, was successful at one company, used the profit from that company to build another company, in the last 2 years started my third successful company. So everything they say aligns with how I have had to think in order to be successful. So I don't know about compounds, but nootropics always help. Having high testosterone will always help. This is why, like, other YouTubers that discuss TRT will talk about it in the context of entrepreneurship a lot. Like Steve will say, like, here's the entrepreneurial stack, but he'll always say, like, yeah, I mean, if your test levels are high and especially high DHT, you're gonna have fucking more productivity. Definitely working, whether that's physically working or thinking about solving a problem. Having adequate levels of testosterone has helped me tremendously versus my life as an entrepreneur before getting on TRT and just using nootropics. It's much better now. All right, do you supplement DHEA and pregnenolone? Yeah, 40 milligrams DHEA a day, split up into 20 milligram doses in the morning and 20 milligrams in the evening. Pregnenolone 30 milligrams a week, just a one-off once a week. I wouldn't try to raise your progesterone. If I were you, no, I don't think it would cause you to have depression and anxiety unless it's ultra bottomed out. But if you take DHA and pregnenolone, that should resolve that issue. HCG won't necessarily, though. People think that it will. Doesn't always. See, here we go. Robert Washington, Adderall caused me erection issues for a while. It can cause similar PSST symptoms when I stop and fix. Yep, it can. Probably depletion of dopamine from projection areas. I don't track macronutrient intake anymore. I did when I was younger. I think I just got so used to seeing what I was seeing that I kind of recognized where it's at generally. I know, though, that throughout the given day, I need a good bit of carbohydrates, carbs with every meal, rice, potatoes in the morning, bacon and eggs, and English muffins. So there's carbs there. I just require them. I'm running. I'm going to the gym. Protein with every meal as well. Yeah, yes, definitely protein with every meal. Vegetables with late lunch and dinner. Not in the morning. All right, boys, I'm gonna end the stream. Got some stuff I got to take care of, and then I'm gonna go do a fucking run. I'm pumped as hell. Torque Stack right now is buy one get one free. We run these 3 times a year. The code for this is down in the description, guys. So go get a bottle. You'll get another bottle for free per what you buy. There's no limit on that. So if you buy 7, you'll get 7 for free. Livecortex.com again. Link and the code is down in the description of this video. For torquebogo content coming this week. I got a podcast I just did with Mike from Balance My Hormones from the UK, where we talk about all relevant topics relative to HRT, TRT that's going to launch the next few weeks to a month. So look forward to that. I've got some banger content for this coming week, so pay attention to that. Get the notifications if you got noties on. If not, turn them on. Sub to the channel if you're new. Hit the like button. Those of you that are still here, it actually makes a big difference. Takes you a second, costs you nothing, makes a huge fucking difference on the channel. Least you can do for me. I'd really appreciate it. Talk to you guys this coming week. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I know you're not looking forward to the winter. Fall will be fun. The winter is gonna suck, but hey, let's enjoy the summer, I guess, while we can. All right, boys. Kick ass. Rock on.